What happens when you have science without God? Hi everyone, Barak Lurie again on the Barak Lurie Show. Today, a topic that is so fascinating, science and God. You hear this all the time. There are two different hands here, one that believes in God and the other one that believes only in science, and they just don't mix, you see, because if you believe in God, well then clearly you don't believe in science. Okay? This is the way that the secular world would like you to think about science. They're the ones who want to advance, and you people who believe in God, well, you clearly don't want to advance. You'd rather believe in your fantasies and your unicorns in the sky. I'm telling you, this is the way that most atheists think about those who believe in God. I certainly thought that way when I was an atheist. But here is a problem for the atheist. First of all, as we've discussed in videos in the past and many of my writings, particularly in my book Atheism Kills, if they did actually look at the history of science, they would discover, much to their chagrin no less, it was the religious, Christianity, Catholicism, and Judaism, that really advanced what we think of today as science. It was the Catholic Church that started the university that had the notion of science and the scientific method that we so treasure today. When Catholicism, Christianity, and Judaism sought out science, it was for one purpose, and that was to seek out God's truths. That was the mission. Because we wanted to understand the world and the universe around us, because it was a glorious thing. And we also understood that science is to be used only for the good, for the discovery of God, and for God's truths. But the secular would have you believe otherwise. They would have you believe that somehow it was the secular that discovered that the earth revolved around the sun and not vice versa. That the church and Judaism, for that matter, have decided to turn a blind eye towards science, that science was a threat to God. On the contrary, it was because of religion, good religion through Christianity and Judaism, that we have science today. All the great thinkers and the scientists, they were devout Christians and Jews. Very few were secular. Let's make no mistake. All the great discoveries that we think of in science, whether the notion of the atom, the Big Bang, the theory of relativity, gravity, the heliocentric view of the solar system, and the notion of galaxies and so forth, these were all from religious people. Not people who happened to be religious, but people who pursued their scientific discoveries and inventions because they believed so fiercely in God, who saw the Bible as a roadmap to help them understand what to pursue. And without religion, without God in the equation, and people pursuing science, they don't even know quite what they are pursuing. Why even study these things? What's the point? Is it only to make our lives a little bit more comfortable? If so, then why are we studying things that won't really matter, like how far a galaxy might be millions of light years away? These are things that should not be of importance to us, but yet we still pursue them. Maybe it's because we still have that innate sense of wanting to find God's truths. Now, by contrast, what happens when you have science without God? We have seen science without God. Science can be abused. Look what happened in Hitler's Holocaust, the cruel, horrific experiments that he undertook. The Soviet Union also engaged in tortures using science, only to see how much more they could engage some victims in pain and horror. We all know that that's not what science is for. When science is used for evil, you can assure yourself of one thing: the scientist behind it does not have God in his life. We dare not pursue science without understanding why we have science in the first place. God gave us science, and if we don't appreciate that God gave us science, just from the history alone, then we will run headlong into further horrors as we saw in fascism and communism. Science was a gift to us from God. Let us use it wisely, and let us never distort the history of science either. I'm Barak Lurie. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk with you next week.